All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Open House at the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. We usually start 5 minutes late, but with StreamYard that we're streaming on now, we gotta kind of start right on time. So some people might be showing up late. If you're here live right now, feel free to use the chat function, ask questions at any time, engage us. We'll be giving an overview of the school tonight. I'm pumped up in the hypnotherapy mode. I just saw 2 clients today, an amazing session last night. It's a phenomenal profession that we're going to introduce you to. We'll introduce you to the school. I'll introduce you to some of the staff. My name is Matthew Brownstein. I'm the founder and lead instructor of the Institute. I'm here with Leslie Lehrman, who she says is in missions on the screen. She's kind of our director of operations, keeps everything running smooth behind the scenes. Leslie will introduce you to a little bit of what she does or part of this PowerPoint tonight, just to say hello. Todd Grady is here. He's our primary admissions representative. So when you call and speak to our school, he's the first line of defense. He's the one you'll talk to. So he'll tell you a little bit about what it's like to enroll, and you just get to meet him and get a sense of his warm, friendly nature. And then our wonderful Jenny Warner, who is our student services director. She inherited the mama bear role where she holds everyone's hands and helps them through the training. So first of all, it's all about love here. It's a path of love. To me, this is a path of healing and enlightenment. It's not only hypnosis. It is based on my journey through deep spirituality, living in ashrams and monasteries. I am a monk at heart. I live alone in the clouds on the top of a mountain, literally. I've dedicated my whole life to this. And I'm not here to talk about me. I'm really here for you, whoever's listening or hopefully interacting with us tonight. And I'm here to introduce you to a phenomenal profession. I mean, think about something that could reawaken people spiritually, clear the blocks in their mind so you can get true mental health, a movement towards wholeness, not just away from suffering and pain with diagnosis and medication, but a movement towards healing and enlightenment. So imagine a profession where you and your clients are waking up spiritually, healing their mind, healing and opening their hearts, clearing emotional blocks, techniques that can help to restore physical health, that can bring financial prosperity, that can give you a career where you're your own boss, making your own hours. You can program your mind with anything to help to improve your life. So there's tremendous uses for yourself and others. Tonight, we'll talk about this as a career or just as a path for your own personal growth and development. So I'm really here for you. So if you have access to the chat pod through Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, or if you're just, however you're here, feel free to interact. And let me just start taking us through the PowerPoint. And again, really focused on you and your experience. Not really, here for any of us to talk about ourselves, but just to introduce you to a phenomenal path, if I say so myself. So let's look at the first slide here. We are, as I said, the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. That is our brand, Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. I started this school back in 2007, so we're going for about 17 years now or so. I've been in the field for almost 30 years. I've been in I started my full-time private practice in 1997. So not just a spring chicken with this at all. Definitely really been around the block. And running the school for 17 years, we've been able to refine it tremendously. This past year, 2023, was dedicated to ironing out all the wrinkles. The educational experience here now is really better than it's ever been. And that's part of the help of the team who's here as well. So we were called Florida Institute of Hypnotherapy. There's probably not much reference to that on the internet anymore, but if you ever stumble across Florida Institute of Hypnotherapy, that was us. But at some point, I kind of got like a meditative download, if you will. I was saying to my higher, wiser mind, what is hypnotherapy? I was kind of exploring in deep meditation. What is this phenomenal profession? And I was saying to that inner guidance, I said, is it transpersonal? Is it all about just our oneness with our source, the connection to spirit? And that inner voice said, yes, and it's interpersonal. And it was a huge aha moment. I was like, interpersonal to me is deeper than just transpersonal. So what does that mean? To me, when I say this is a path of healing and enlightenment, I really mean it. I mean self-realization, self-actualization, a return to wholeness, or return to love, teachings that are based in the deepest wisdom traditions. So my background is philosophy, religion, and then eventually Chinese medicine, but I knew the mind was the problem. And I really wanted a profession where I could bring the spirituality in, I could bring the heart in, I could bring the love and the joy, like everything that this is about. And then that download of what is interpersonal made me realize it's more than just our helping us for ourselves and to bring our clients to that deep realization of who they are. It's about the relationships. So it's about your relationship with your client, but it's more than just that. It's the relationships they hold within their mind. We can talk about that a little bit tonight, about why the essence of this work is essentially about transforming, or you could say forgiving, relationships. And then it's just all about the relationships that we have with our staff, here at the school, with our students, with their clients. And here's the basic goal of the whole school. I used to see 25 full paying clients per week, and I'll talk to you about the income potentials. So if you do the math, once I show you how much you can make, 25 clients per week is a really, really healthy income. But it was plenty enough money for me, but it wasn't healing enough people because I could only do so much as one person. So my goal has become, I want to be able to measure 1,000 graduates are seeing 15 clients per week. That's 1,000 people in careers who are, so basically that's 15,000 healings that occur every week because of us. We have to qualify the word healing, but just put a disclaimer on that. We can talk an asterisk by it. We can talk about it later. We have had over 1,000 graduates in the school. I just don't have a system to measure yet that, how many clients they're seeing. Yet we have a very high positive graduate outcome through the Department of Education. The school became the first, and as far as I know, still only school licensed by the Department of Education's branch called the Commission for Independent Education. So we got licensed in 2007. And when COVID hit, we started going more and more online. We became licensed with the Department of Education to go 100% online. I'll talk to you a little bit more about the history of this school in a moment. But for now, this is just an overview. This is open house, in case you didn't realize. Tonight, January 30th, and then our next enrollment is February 13th. So you got about 2 weeks if you're thinking of joining us. And for those who have enrolled, who are new students who are here now, welcome. I've dedicated my whole life to you, literally. I keep saying that all the time lately because I have. This is what I do. It's my purpose, it's my mission. And my clients today, interestingly enough, both of them felt like, well, what's my purpose in life? Why am I here? Life is like meaningless. And the sessions were all about, you're valuable, you're important, you have a reason for being here. You can be of service to others. And without being of service to others, life can feel rather meaningless. So sincerely, namaste. Welcome everybody who's new to the school, who's joining. And if you're considering us, I hope you get a feel for the vibe and what we're all about. The symbols on the screen can give you a sense of what we're all about. The corporate name of the company is Anahat Education Group. Anahat is the heart chakra. And one of my books, I'm the author of 5 books. One is called The Sacred Geometry of Meditation. So a lot of this school is rooted in very deep principles of basically the ancient wisdom traditions. And like I said, as a religion and philosophy major, I focused on all the Eastern and Western religions. So Hinduism and all of its mystical branches, Buddhism, Taoism, a lot of influence from those Eastern traditions. But my background is very much in yoga. Like I said, I've lived in different ashrams, and Zen. I've lived in different Zen monasteries and really would consider myself a Zen monk. However, Zen monks don't need to call themselves Zen monks. And the school is my mission. So I'm not living in a monastery, but I would be if it weren't for this mission. So the heart chakra, its symbol is a 6-pointed star surrounded by a 12-petaled lotus. It's not a Jewish symbol per se, although, we because of my background, there's a lot of the deep traditions that relate to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, or more specifically, Kabbalah, Christian mysticism, Sufism, but very much A Course in Miracles influences our school. So when you see the symbol of the heart chakra, it represents your heart, which is your subconscious mind, it's your emotional mind, but it's the very center, you might say, of our being, or the heart of who we really are, the core of who we really are. The symbol of the ascending triangle represents our movement into source, into love, the return to love. The descending triangle is like coming back down from the top of the mountain. And, symbols can have tons of meaning, but the most general thing I'd like to share with you is this is a path of healing and enlightenment to bring you to your source of who you really are, which I always say is peace, love, joy, oneness, and bliss. It's the solution to all of our problems. And we have a lot of problems, and healing the mind has been my conclusion of how we solve these problems. Once you reach the top and you've achieved a sense of personal wholeness, you come back down again. You walk the talk. You enter the marketplace with helping hands, and as they say in the Zen tradition. So Anahat is the heart chakra, but there's a lot of depth behind that you learn about in the training, and you'll see that same symbol in the school's logo. And again, I don't have time to go into all the details, but I just want you to know about the tremendous depth that's here. Next slide. Your hosts. Again, my name is Matthew Brownstein. In case you don't know, I'm the founder and CEO of Anahat Education Group, and currently the lead instructor at the school. I didn't teach for a while. I was kind of semi-retired, but in the past couple years, I have gotten much more back into it, and I love it more than ever. So I'm honored to be taking our students personally through the training. I still see clients to this day. A lot of my clients are our students. And I'm so honored to help students and clients, like when you're a student client, when you graduate the hypnotherapy, your own sessions, if you're choosing to do that. And you have to get there with me. We have, like I said, over 1,000 graduates. We have plenty of highly qualified people to help you through your own personal challenges. But when you graduate this school, it's just such an honor to see the transformations that occur. So again, we're here tonight with Jenny Warner, Director of Student Services, Todd Grady, our admissions representative, and Leslie, who put the slide together, forgot to put herself in there, I guess. So we're here with Leslie, kind of our behind-the-scenes Director of Operations. Tonight's agenda, an introduction to the school. Then our staff will talk to you about what is your experience like as a student, take a deeper dive into the student and graduate experience, and then steps to get started. Okay, so with that said, a little bit more about me, because if you're going through the training, why would you want to go through this training? Well, nobody can be you, and nobody can be me. And like I said, we're all here with a mission and a purpose. Not every student is drawn to every teacher, but one reason to consider the school is me, because if you are enjoying the vibe, you're going to be hearing a lot of me teaching the classes, and there's a lot of videos that you watch, and then live classes and hands-on or online practicum hours. So I want you to get a feel for who's delivering this education and what it's all about. So this is my core mission. It's been with me since my early 20s, and it's never changed: to offer the world, through loving service, the wisdom and truths that I've discovered over the years in a way that relieves the suffering of all beings and promotes health, wealth, and enlightenment for myself as others. In my experience of the enlightenment process, it's a return to love, and it's a return to the experience of oneness, where you pretty much understand we're all in this together. But deeper than just that, we're all the same self, right? Like the earth is blossoming trees and plants and animals and humans. We're all part of this, but bigger than the planet, we're all part of the universe. And when you tap into who you really are and what that means, again, it's just love and bliss and joy at our essence. Like your true nature is bliss. And anybody who tells you otherwise, it just hasn't cleared all their blockages yet. Because when you're totally clear, you're just pure love. And when you see other people suffering, all you want to do is be of service. So again, it really sincerely is a path of healing and enlightenment, but it's infused with state licensed, I'm going to say extremely high quality hypnotherapy education, Because my background after religion and philosophy and living in monasteries and ashrams, I was like, what do you do, with that, with your life? Who are you going to be when you grow up? Said my mom. And I realized that the mind is why we suffer. I mean, it's in Buddhism, it's in the yogic path, it's in any path, Course in Miracles, and wherever you look, you basically realize, the mind is the problem. So for me, Chinese medicine couldn't quite do it, and meditation, as wonderful as that is, how do you make a living, a great living being a meditation teacher, and how do you really heal the deep stuff? So when I found hypnotherapy, I was hooked. I left Chinese medical college and I dedicated my life to hypnotherapy. But the reason the word health is here is because of psychosomatic illness. The mind causes all psychosomatic illness. That's what the word means. So for my full-time profession from 97 to 2007, before I opened the school, I was giving lectures a lot called Healing the Mind, Healing the Body, because my background in Chinese medicine and energy medicine basically made me conclude the mind causes, it's a big topic, but the mind causes negative emotions, basically. So when you're angry, your thoughts do that. When you're sad, your thoughts do that. Essentially, all of the suffering is because of the mind. But when the mind causes negative emotions that remain blocked, when we close our hearts, we end up depressed, anxious, and filled with guilt, fear, shame, anger, hurt. And that causes illness. In Chinese medicine, fear affects your kidneys. Anger affects your liver. Anxiety affects your heart. Overthinking and rumination affects your spleen, stomach, pancreas system. And I just didn't think you could truly resolve that problem by just putting needles in or doing massage or herbs or homeopathy. I just realized you have to deal with the mind directly. And then you see the word wealth on the screen. There's a lot of monks who are not making any good money, and that's kind of suffering in a lot of ways, right? Poverty is a huge cause of suffering. So you can use your mind to significantly increase your wealth. And if you have a problem with that, you can resolve that. You can let yourself be happy, healthy, thin, and wealthy. That's kind of the underlying fun way to say it. Mission of the school: happy, healthy, thin, and wealthy. If that's not okay, then what holds you back from your full potential? So again, this is so much more than just hypnotherapy, but we're using the mind and tons of techniques to really help you to actualize your full potential, or I like to say to activate your mind power. Okay, so here's kind of a redundant slide. So next, history of the school we'll talk about tonight. And again, if you're here live and you like to ask questions, just type them in any moment. But I'll stop at some point and let our staff speak, but also time for question and answer. And we'll try to keep it around an hour tonight, unless there's a lot of interaction. All right, so I'll tell you a little bit more about the history of the school, a little bit more about my personal journey and credentials. You'll meet our team. We'll definitely spend a little bit of time tonight talking about the importance of state licensure. And let's just do it now, since I kind of covered the first 3 points. I have my most influential hypnotherapy teacher and mentor, Mr. Gil Boyne. I got to know Gil personally. I got to learn so much from him. And at some point I was like, Gil, I want to open, a school. And he's like, okay, well, you're going to have to be state licensed. And he had laid this foundation for that. So Gil helped me to become licensed. And again, we were the first school in Florida is where we started. Now it's really international. And I live in New York. Todd lives in Connecticut. One of our other staff lives in New Jersey. So we just, and now that we're online, we do have locations in Tampa and Orlando that we're currently, the current enrollment is only Tampa and online. But if you want a portion of it with actual hands-on, then you could do that at our Tampa location. But most students now and most schools now are really going more and more online. Good. Welcome, Holly, who said, does the school help with business aspects? Absolutely. So we're 500 hours of total training, and as a state licensed school, so the Department of Education needs to know that when we graduate you, that you're succeeding. You can't be a state licensed school and not have, we're a career school. So if we don't help you to succeed, the Department of Education will close this down. So once you've gone through 100 hours of our training, which is the fundamentals of hypnotism, we go into 20 hours of business and practice management, advertising, and marketing. We do that with one of our marketing consultants, whose name is Corey Benship. If you've seen our website, he's the one who built that. He builds websites for graduates at reduced cost. He offers a free class. I think it happens once a month, maybe more often. It's called the Best Practices Business Support Group, totally free, where you can go and pick Corey's brain and hear the best practices for how to build your business. We teach you everything you need to know about having an office, the basics of setting up a business, paying taxes, getting your business tax receipt, liability insurance, HIPAA compliance. So it's a radiant yes to that question. And I only have so much time tonight, but it's important that you do see this as a business, because you're getting a sense of me and the type of people we attract. It's about love, light, spirituality, forgiveness, healing, wisdom traditions. But how do you make money in that? Fortunately, people search for hypnotherapists, but you have, they go to Google and type in like hypnotherapy for weight loss, hypnotherapy stop smoking, hypnotherapy sleep better. You have to show up in front of them. And yes, we teach you how to do that. I built my practice, I'm getting older now, so I built my practice before we really even had the internet. Sorry to say. From 97 to 2000, like for almost 10 years, I really didn't use a computer to run my practice. I'll teach you how to do it grassroots, shoestring budget in your local community. But now that we're going so much online, I only see clients online these days. I think most of our graduates only do online sessions, although a lot of people, of course, still have offices. But online means you can work from home, you can make your own hours, you can do it in your pajamas, at least below the waist. But no, I mean, we're highly professional with this school, but there's something really wonderful about being able to work online. So Corey teaches you all about how to market your business online. I teach you largely how to do it with an office, but there's a combination of both that blends really well. So you're welcome, Holly, and that's definitely the short version to a big yes, that we're totally dedicated to your success. All right. Yeah, anybody else? Or Holly, ask any more questions as they come up to your mind. So the importance of state licensure. The only other few things I'll say there is, please don't support unlicensed activity in this profession. We're trying one of our taglines for the school, aside from a path of healing and enlightenment. The other main tagline is raising the standards of hypnotherapy education. I was in Chinese medical college, and it's a master's degree. So I learned about much higher standards of education and training. And then when I got into the field of hypnotherapy, I was not impressed with the standards. So at least Gil Boyne helped me to be sure that we were state licensed. But beyond that, it's having enough number of hours of training, but being truly regulated by the Department of Education. Hypnotherapy is a federally acknowledged occupation, just like medical doctor, chiropractor, acupuncturist, massage therapist. This is a legitimate profession. Every state requires that if you're training someone in a federally acknowledged occupation, you must be licensed to do so. So if you just do like a weekend hypnosis training, you can learn hypnosis from a book at Barnes and Nobles. You can learn some hypnosis in a weekend, but you honestly, sincerely shouldn't be calling yourself a hypnotherapist unless you have state licensed diplomas from a legitimate school. Now, I know some people out in our field don't like what I say there, but the law is the law. And it honestly is illegal to train people in this profession unless you're licensed to do so. Now, you can teach somebody how to hypnotize, but if you're offering them a career, it has to be governed by the Department of Education. So I just encourage you, if you're looking into schools and feeling things out, how many hours, who's the teacher, what's that person's background, are they coming from integrity, do they work with high ethics? But aside from all of that, the school really should be licensed. Okay, welcome Angela, who said, February is too soon for me to commit. How often will the school have enrollment? We used to do, hey Maurice, graduated, I saw here, I'll get to you in a moment. We used to do 4 start dates a year, but we changed that in 2024 to 3 start dates a year. So it's February, May, and September. Okay, so if you can't make it to the May enrollment, you can do the February enrollment, you can do the May enrollment. However, you can pretty much start any time. Like if you put down a deposit, we give you free access to the first 4.5 hours. So anytime you just sign up, call the school, or you'll see it on our website. You can watch the first 4.5 hours at no charge. So you can really start that anytime you want to. I will be redoing those videos, but all the other school videos, once you get into the bulk of the training, were just redone in 2023. I spent the whole of last year cleaning up the entire curriculum, so it's pretty well perfected now, if I say so myself. But you could start the first 4.5 hours, no charge. And then for a $300 deposit, which our staff will talk to you about those details, you can get access to the first 20 hours. And then some students actually have chosen to, I'm hesitating here, but you can dive in sooner rather than later and even kind of like slowly pace your way into the May class. So there's so many ways you could get started almost any time. But yeah, if you can't do February, the official next start date would be May. But thanks for asking, Angela. Kelly said, do you have lifetime access to the information learned online? Yes, great question. We have 2 different learning management systems. One is for active students going through, and that's like high level state license type of, what's required. But then after you graduate, we plug you into a different learning management system that you have access to for life. So you can watch all the videos anytime you want to. You can repeat live online classes anytime you want to. And you can ask your questions then, and I'm the main instructor for that. And then you could even repeat the hands-on or online practicum hours anytime you want to. We let you repeat the entire training at no charge, in part or in whole, as long as you're a graduate with good standing. This is not, it takes you about 9 to 10 months to go through our entire training. So, it's less than a year, but it's I said the word not, but let me say in the positive, it is a lifetime study. You will not have mastered this after a year. You can start seeing clients right away, and the majority of our graduates are more than ready to do that as long as you feel confident. If you don't feel confident, you get hypnotherapy, you resolve your issues, and then you get out there and you start helping people and making nice money doing so. So yes, you have lifetime access, not only to the videos, but to me as a teacher. You can email me anytime with questions on clients. Remember, my goal is measuring 15,000 hypnotherapy sessions a week, which means your clients are my clients, not financially, but from my heart, right? I can only help 25 a week, but now I want to help 15,000 per week. So yes, you have full access to everything, really, if you're in good standing with us, which is 99% of the students, for the rest of your life. Okay, great. Hey, Marisa, again, good to see you here. Marisa, can graduates attend the online business portion of the training? Yeah, for sure. On our website, and I can't easily show you the screen now in this system, but on our website, it says, what does it say? Again, I'm not going to show it to you because of the software, but it says free resources on the website. If you go to the drop-down menu, it says best practices business support group. Anybody could attend that, graduates, new students, whomever. And there's lots of other resources there, but we don't have time to go into all that tonight. Okay, thank you for your questions. Keep asking if you got them. All right, and then let's talk about the IAIH. So like I said, let me answer this question, then I go on. Krista, hello, said how large are classes on average? About 25 to 30 students in any given cohort. However, because we have multiple locations, we do have an Orlando location. We're just going to be enrolling for that in the May class. We're not doing a February class there. But quite often we'll have like 5 students in Orlando, 5 to 10 in Tampa. And then I usually take our online students, and that could be 10 to 15. So when you break out, so like the live classes that occur during the week, you probably have about 25 people in that cohort, which means you got a chance to make a lot of really good friends for sure, which I love. That, it's all about relationships here. So what were we saying? So how large are the classes? So yeah, it's about 25 students, but when you go into your breakout groups, we used to keep a 1-to-5 ratio, meaning you'll have 1 supervisor for 5 students. But lately, I've been actually reducing that to 1-to-3, meaning you have far more supervision than you ever had in the past. And we've had students recently who are like, wow, you guys hold our hands like so much. I've never had this much support. So I'm totally think you get a sense, my dedication to this. And yeah, I want you to have an amazing experience with the school. So it's not like 1 teacher and 25 students. When you're practicing, it's usually 1 teacher or supervisor to 3 to 5 students. So it's a very intimate learning setting, even online. You really get ample supervision. All right. And Holly said, is there a clinical portion of the learning? Yes. We just have to define what clinical means, but yes, on every level. So we have what's called clinical hypnotherapist training. After you do your first 300 hours, which we'll show you on the screen soon enough, what that looks like visually, then the next 100 hours is called clinical. I don't think that's what you mean, so I'll answer the question in a different way. But clinical training, the way we use the term here, is training you in medical hypnotherapy, working in medical settings, getting medical referrals, working in hospitals, working with dentists, psychiatrists, doctors, working with pain management, hypnosis for childbirth, and we go deeply into hypnosis and healing. Remember, if you were here in the beginning, I said put a little asterisk by the word healing. I train you significantly in hypnosis law, ethics, and proper semantics and advertising. So we'll never let you put yourself out there in a way where you could get in trouble. Like if you follow our rules, about how we train you to run your practice, you can do it safely and legally. So when we work on medical conditions or mental health conditions or dental conditions, most of the time, depending on your credentials, you have to get a referral from the appropriate licensed practitioner. That's not a problem. We do that all the time. So we train you in that, and that's what I mean by clinical. You might mean clinical meaning like practice. So it's like internship or externship. Out of the 500 hours, 150 of those are hands-on, in-person, or online practicum hours where you're practicing hypnotherapy. So you're not just learning from videos, that's part of it. You are interacting with your teacher, reviewing exercises to be able to practice that eventually you'll use in your private practice. But during the school, you practice on each other. So you'll be practicing your classmates. You'll be getting a lot of hypnotherapy. And if that's what you mean by clinical, then yes. So you have ample time for practice, online or in person, and then ample time for supervision of the skill sets. Okay, you're welcome, Maurice and Holly. T asked, Dad, I think I should know that name. I think you're an enrolled student, but anyway, welcome, said, are the course required reading books in the online library? No, you could buy them on Amazon used if you want. So we have required reading, but it's not how we train you in hypnotherapy. So we don't ever check if you read the required reads. We don't test you on the required reading. And you could get it at Kindle, at like 99 cents sometimes for a book, but we don't offer the books because of copyright in our school's library. We can't do that. But the books total, if you bought them retail, would be about $200. But again, you can get them used or you can get them in Kindle. And sometimes if you just Google the PDF of it, you might find like a bootleg copy, but it's a minimal expense for the books. And again, it's not a main emphasis of the school. All right. Angela said, I live in Tampa. Is it beneficial to visit the school's physical location? I would like to take a tour and speak face-to-face with staff, students, and practitioners and graduates. You're more than welcome to. However, we only use that location when there's actual hands-on practice occurring. We become a lot more online now. Again, I live in upstate New York in the beautiful Adirondack Mountains, so I'm not a huge Florida fan. I'm a mountain guy. So, I do all the training online, but we do have staff and instructors and practitioners in the Tampa area. So Jenny, who's here tonight, your student services director, if you ever wanted to meet her at the Tampa location, you would just call the school, say, hey, I'd like to, you can't just show up, the door will be locked. But if you say, hey, I'd like to show up and see the physical location, you're more than welcome to. And then, Leslie doesn't live all that far as well, but Jenny's closer. And then you're also welcome to just sit in, for a short period of time during the practicum hours. So you could actually meet an instructor or supervisor and the current students that would be there. So just give us a call to coordinate that. And the answer is yes, but it's not like we're there 24/7. It's just a training location that we use in the, where's it, kind of the Carrollwood area of Tampa on Bush Boulevard. Yes, Angela, for sure. Okay, Kelly said, can we do both online and in-person classes intermittently, or does it have to be one or the other? We do ask you to predominantly choose one or the other. We have to coordinate our staff. So if you have 25 students online, I need at least 5 supervisors to help me to take you through the training. If you say, I think I can go to Tampa now, we might not have it adequately staffed. So it's better to choose one or the other. You might think like the in-person is so much better because, it's people, but online has been amazing. I love seeing clients online. I love teaching students online, and there's like nothing lost. There's minimal amounts of touch that occur in hypnotherapy, like when we roll someone's head. You can just eliminate that. The techniques aren't that important. So when the training starts, it starts online. Everybody does 70% online. While you're doing that, if you're like, I think I really want some in person, then you could definitely let us know. Okay, I'm committing to being in Tampa. We need to know that probably within a couple of weeks at minimum, because we have to, again, get our staff in the right places. But more and more people are doing online, loving online. When you do it online, you're in the comfort of your own home. You can sit there in your jammies. You can have your cup of coffee. You can go to your own bathroom. Lunch is so much easier and less expensive and usually healthier. There's so many reasons to do it online. However, we do still have our Tampa and Orlando location. So you pretty much want to choose one or the other at some point. If you decide to switch, we can make that happen, but it's not good to flop around because we have to staff properly. Great. And T. Alstead, again, tell me your first name again, if you would, because I know you're enrolled in the school, so I just don't have that on top of my head. You said, regarding referrals from professionals, is there a requirement for the hypnotherapist to be set up to take insurance? There is not. So we have very high standards in the school, and I'm really working to create like the gold standard of hypnotherapy training and the way we monitor state laws and provide you resources for insurance. But this is more or less a self-regulated profession. Like the leaders in the field, it's up to us to set standards. And honestly, the standards haven't been very high in the profession. So we ask you that we recommend that you have insurance. If somebody's referring to you, then you are needing to be HIPAA compliant. So we train you in that. And we do recommend insurance companies that you could research on your own. But the referring practitioner, in Florida, the law says the referring practitioner is severally and jointly liable, which is legalese way of saying they become highly responsible in making that referral. They probably should check if you have insurance and if you're HIPAA compliant. So we ask that you are. But does the law require it? No. Would a physician require it? Probably not. I've never heard of that, where they said, do you have insurance? I mean, I had a psychiatrist just refer a patient to me the other day that he honestly was like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, good, bring it on. I'm happy to take that client. And they never ask. Tanya, thank you.
I think perhaps she means the client's insurance, though, which isn't how most hypnotherapists don't take that.
Oh, thank you. Great. Okay, thanks for the clarification. Do we take insurance? No. And I encourage you to not want to. Here's the deal with insurance briefly. To take insurance, you have to diagnose. I don't like diagnosis. I was in that even in Chinese medicine, and the diagnosis can be very limited, and it's far from scientific. 5 different psychiatrists will give you 5 different diagnoses. I mean, there's studies on that. So I really don't like the diagnostic model. It makes the therapist into a judge, where you're having to label the client, and then when you get them, the insurance pays for it, they're not as motivated to heal. You have to submit to the insurance company, and then you have to wait for them to pay you. I have been in this field, again, for almost 30 years. I've never taken insurance, and we're going to go to how much money you can make in just a moment. Your clients will pay you, credit card usually, like right there at the end of the session, and you can literally see 20 to 30 is a bit much, but I have done 30, but like you can see up to 25 clients a week, and they just pay you directly. You don't have to support the insurance companies. You're not medicating. You're not diagnosing. I work with the model that we help the able to become more able. And that means we're really not working with severe mental health conditions at all. And this training isn't about that. It's really helping pretty well healthy people to become exceptionally healthy people. And we want to attract people who actually can pay. It's just a certain type of profession. Like, we're not psychiatrists, we're not psychologists, and we don't pretend to be. This is its own profession. And yes, fortunately, we don't take insurance. And I'll tell you in a moment, how much some of our graduates are making. And I only say because we're not at that yet, but we'll get there in a sec. Jessica said, I'm in the Orlando area and would prefer the practicum hours face-to-face. Will Orlando become an option at some point? Yeah, I had picked it, and then it got revised, either Tampa or online. Yeah, so yeah, we didn't have, well, actually, yeah, there was just some confusion. Anyway, it didn't work out for the February Orlando group, as I think you know, but May is scheduled for it. I've confirmed it with the teacher. We signed the agreements. I submitted today, actually, to the Department of Education. They say, yes, we're doing Orlando. We were just renewing our license today for that submission. So yes, Orlando is set for May for sure, as long as we have enough students, but I really think we will. I feel confident that May will have an Orlando class. Okay. Holly said, do you really need to be insured if you're doing online sessions? No, you don't ever have to be insured in this profession, but the company I recommend, it used to be $263 per year. They just raised it to like 300 and change. It's not a lot of money. If you have assets to protect, then CYA, cover your assets. If you have any assets at all, a home, money in the bank, get insurance for $300 a month or so. It's worth it. You get general liability in case there's slip and fall, which doesn't happen online, but there could be malpractice. And the company I recommend that I use covers general liability for slip and fall, but also malpractice. And this is a very safe profession. It's just like, I don't hear about people getting sued or anything like that. You know, we're all about love, and our clients get that. But if something ever happened, God forbid, it'd be good to have insurance. But no, you don't legally have to have it. Great. Tanya said, what is the structure of the live Tuesday classes versus pre-recorded classes? All right, let me show you. Hold that thought for 1 sec, and I will finish the slide and jump to a slide that shows you that stuff. And thank you to our staff who's patiently waiting. I got to get to the point where they start presenting, but I'm happy to answer your questions. So what is hypnotherapy? What is interpersonal hypnotherapy, IAIH? All right, give me 1 sec for the slide, and we'll move on and answer your question. The IAIH is our association. So I'll start on this day. When Gil Boyne helped me to open the school, and then he passed away, his association was losing a lot of steam, and I realized the standards weren't as high as I was hoping. The code of ethics wasn't refined. The conferences had stopped for a while. So I created a governing regulatory credentialing body called the International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists. So it's a separate association that you can be certified through, and we offer annual conferences. We have one coming up in October of this year. Usually it's May, but I wanted more time to make it amazing. So the conference will be online in October. Anybody's welcome to attend. We offer CEUs, continuing education hours after you graduate, and there's requirements for that, and we offer those hours. Neurolinguistic programming training is another CEU. So there's conferences, CEUs, and certifications. You get diplomas when you graduate the school, but you do want to be certified by some association. That gives you a certification number, discounts on insurance, conferences, CEU courses. So we provide that as well as, you might say, a separate organization. So what is hypnotherapy and interpersonal hypnotherapy? Just in case you guys don't know at all, hypnosis is a natural yet altered state of mind. We don't use drugs to get people in the state. And really, we're just getting people to be more receptive and responsive to positive suggestions. That's basic hypnosis. But when you start talking hypnotherapy, now you're talking about communicating with the subconscious mind, talking to the parts of the mind that are not feeling good. And predominantly, that tends to be our inner child. Notice where my hand goes. Right? In hypnotherapy, we can talk directly with the subconscious and make radical change. In the old style of Freudian analysis, the model was to analyze the subconscious. We don't analyze it. We just talk directly to it. The work is remarkably effective, and there's ample research to show that. But again, tonight's just an overview. The difference about interpersonal hypnotherapy is really deep, and it takes a lot of time to explain, like literally 522 hours. After you graduate the 500 hours, there's a 22-hour CEU course on interpersonal hypnotherapy. And it's really about a rapid resolution style of processing that gets to the root cause of the issue very quickly, and it does it with relationships as the main focus, meaning the relationships within your heart. And that's predominantly relationship to mom and dad, usually inner child and inner parent. And that conflict that a lot of us have in there, like not forgiving our parents, is sometimes the biggest part of the problem. So interpersonal is all about forgiveness within relationships, and that means more and more as you go through the training. Okay, so it's a brief overview. Why IIH? Why our school? Again, if you resonate with me, that's important, because if you don't, wrong school. But I'm not for everybody, but a lot of students really just love that I'm training you, and that's something to really consider. Our entire staff, it's not just me. There's about 20 or so people who are part of this team, and we are so dedicated to your success. Everybody who's on this team loves you and cares about you and will bend over backwards for you. Don't make them do that, but they would. Um, and then, of course, state licensure, at least 500 hours of training. It's just too important of work to do it in a weekend workshop. So I hope you do your research and read our testimonials, we read our reviews. Again, I just am working to create the absolute best experience in the world for this training, and I hope you'll see that as you keep researching. Styles of delivery, so online or in-house. Yeah, and then I'll get to Tanya's question in just a sec. You didn't miss the name of the insurance company, but if you go to our website under the IAIH tab, you will see where it says advocacy and resources, and then it mentions the insurance. But Tanya, you're just starting, so don't worry about it quite yet. Once you're in live class with us, and I'll answer your question about those classes, then I can introduce you more to that. So don't worry about it for an open house, but we'll get you there for sure. Okay, but no, I didn't recommend a company yet. Okay, let's just talk about money for a little bit. First of all, it's about people. If you 25 or even 15 clients per week, you're going to make really good money. So you don't have to worry about the money. You just focus on helping people. Now, we're state licensed, and with just integrity, I can promise you what you make. You don't get a job, you an office, or you just do it online, or a combination of both. So I'm just showing you the potential, and you can do the math, but I'm not saying this is absolutely what you'll make. I can tell you though, I just talked to a graduate the other day who's been in practice for about 10 years. She charges, so look at the numbers of what I'm saying you could charge, which is 70 to 150 per hour. This graduate is charging 250 per hour now. She doesn't have to advertise. She's getting all her referrals from psychiatrists, which not a lot of our graduates do, but she is. She just told me she made $250,000 last year. Now, that's the most I've heard a graduate make. So I'm not promising everybody does that, but we do have graduates doing over 100,000 per year for sure. I have absolutely helped more people than I can count right now to become financially free. And that means so much to me, because to know that I help people to have careers and not have to have just jobs, that's awesome. And to careers where you're getting to be you, bring your spirituality, your wisdom, your life experience, all your other skill sets. It's an awesome profession with very little, the pros and cons, very few cons. And actually, the only real con is when a client doesn't call and just doesn't show up. They schedule, but they don't show up. But honestly, that happens in every caregiving profession, and we have ways to minimize that. Aside from that, this is an amazing profession. So you can charge 70 to 150 per hour. I personally charge for the public 300 per hour, and that's on the higher side of things. I charge our students 200 per hour as a student rate, but most of our high-level graduates charge 150 per hour. When you're just starting, maybe consider 90 per hour. So do the math. And this is one example, but it's not the only one. You could do 5, even 1, but 5 to 25 per week. A good average is about 15 clients per week. So just do the math. If you saw 15 clients per week and you charge, let's say, $200 per session, how much is that per week? Multiply that by 50 weeks out of the year, figure out what you can. Sessions are usually 2 hours. If you get 200 per session, and if you saw 20 clients per week, that's 4,000 per week. Multiply 4,000 by 50, that's 200,000 per year. So it says here, these numbers only show the potential for income in one scenario and are no way guarantees of what a graduate will make. But we do monitor your success 6 months after graduation. We're legally required to check, how are you doing? And generally, years, we've always shown a 90+% positive graduate outcome, which means graduates report they're using it full-time, part-time, and again, a lot of people are doing it part-time, and you can make over just again, do the math. You can still do over 100,000 per year, depending on what you charge. Again, no guarantees. But yeah, we've been showing a very high graduate outcome and a lot of training, and support to help to be sure you succeed. Okay, we're getting to your question, Tanya, about the structure of live classes versus pre-recorded. All right, I mentioned the IAIH. Again, it's our credentialing body that's like a side branch of the work. You don't have to join any association, but we'll talk to you about that as you're going through the training, because you should join an association, but you're not legally required to. It's just somebody should be regulating, monitoring you, providing ethics, and talking to you about being insured and whatnot. So that's all through the IAIH. Just briefly, I'm the author of 5 books. And there's the book Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. It's just kind of a primer. I'm writing another version of it now. There's like a thicker kind of level textbook, but for now, this is a really good primer available on Amazon. We do use the book, The Sutras on Healing and Enlightenment, which I wrote when I was living in the Himalayas in India. And it really relates to healing the mind to heal the body, and how the enlightenment process is intimately connected to that. You can go to one of our other websites called onlinemonastery.com, where you can learn about the Anahat meditation system here and the sacred geometry meditation work. That's all completely free. And again, it's at onlinemonastery.com, because again, I'm a monk at heart. And then my book, Peace Under All Circumstances, I recommend that all the time. Wouldn't it be nice to be peaceful no matter what's happening? Okay, moving on. There's plenty of online resources on our website, on YouTube. This is a meditation I really like called Hypnosis for Integrating the Psyche into Wholeness. All of our students are hearing my voice programming you happy, healthy, thin, wealthy, really helping you to achieve success in every category of your life. If you sign up for our free hypnotherapy care package on our website, you get 6 different recordings for achieving success in every aspect of life: spiritually, mentally, emotionally, your physical health, your career and finances, your relationships, and just an overall, number 6, success in all those categories. So if you're not using your mind to make your life better, you're missing something really powerful. We have tons of free resources for that. Here's onlinemonastery.com. I should be starting up the support classes again this year. Once the beginning of the year settles down, we'll be doing that again, but definitely check it out. It's a free certified meditation teacher training. It takes about a year to go through. It's powerful stuff. I practice that meditation system to this day. It's the best thing I've ever encountered. I didn't invent it myself, so I can speak highly of it, but check it out for sure. Okay. I'm going to have one of our staff here, I forget who that is, but they'll know when they start talking, to take over and talk about what's here. However, I'll just answer Tanya's question. So is the structure of the live Tuesday classes, so this February class, I guess, would be Tuesday nights, and they're pre-recorded classes. Here you will see 60% of what we do is recorded video tutorials. They're hot off the press. I just redid all of so you've got it out of every 100 hours, and again, one of our staff will talk to you about that in a moment. Out of every 100 hours, 70% is done online. About 60 of those hours is pre-recorded videos that you could again watch over and over again for the rest of your life. About 10 hours of that is live classes. So the structure is you're watching a lot of videos on your own, at your own pace, at your own time. Then about once a week at Tuesday night, you'll meet with me. I will answer your questions. I'll teach you the most up-to-date information, and then I'll prepare you for the in-house or online practicum hours. Okay, but let me turn that over to a staff member who could elaborate on that. Whose turn is that? Is that a Leslie or Jenny thing?
I think that would be me. And I'm just going to make this short, Matthew, because you kind of touched on everything that's on the slide here. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you all here, and great that you're asking all these questions. And as Matthew said earlier, I am the Director of Student Services, and my role is really to just help you through the journey. I'm a graduate of the school. I graduated in 2021. So I understand the curriculum, I understand the program, and I understand what it takes to go through it. And so I am here as a resource to answer your questions, to help you along the way. And that goes from the beginning, from the first class up through your graduation. I have lots of graduates contacting me for questions and to find resources. And so I really look forward to meeting you, hopefully, and I'm happy to answer any questions. So please put them in the chat. And the student services role is available by email, by text messaging, by phone. And as I said, I just want to make sure that my goal is to have you feel like you have a true team on your side to help you through the program. So I'm going to hand it back over to Matthew for the next slide.
Okay. Yeah. So let me just so I'll go over there and you can talk about the next slide. But since you're turning over to me for a moment, so yeah, I said there's 500 hours of training. The first 300 is hypnotherapist, 100 hours of clinical hypnotherapist, and then the grand finale, which is where I say you ain't seen nothing yet till you get there, is transpersonal. That's where I go into the much deeper spiritual aspects. Past life regression, life between life regression. We look at all the special instances of altered state work like entity attachment, alien abduction. I laugh a little bit, but it's a serious topic for somebody who's experienced it. And yeah, all just the deep, really cool stuff that happens in altered states we go into there. So yeah, we talked about 60% is online, 60% online, 10% more of live online, and then 30 hours are the practicum. There are quizzes. Every course has a quiz, and then there's a quiz at the end of 100 hours. You take your final exam at the very end of the training. It's a hands-on or online, but practicum. We call it, like, it's an oral and practical exam, and I would say 99% of our students pass it the first time. Okay, and while I'm talking, Kelly said, what percentage of the graduates have their own hypnotherapy practice? I can only tell you what the way the Department of Education tells us to monitor, because we don't monitor every single graduate year after year. After 6 months, we have to check. And over the years, as I mentioned before, it's over 90+%. But we don't know exactly how many students how many clients a graduate sees every week. I do want to get to monitor that someday and have a voluntary participation thing, but there's no way to know exactly. All I can say, it's over 90+% who report full-time, part-time, adjunct to an existing profession. Some students just go through for personal growth and never plan on using this. But again, the way Department of Education asks us to measure through all the years has always been over 90+%. It dropped a little bit last year. Generally, again, on average, it's been over 90%. Okay, Lindsay said, I'm sorry if I missed it, but what are the Tuesday classes and for how many weeks? So once the training starts, every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 Eastern time, you'll be meeting with me. And we do that for 5 weeks until the practicum occurs. Let me show you, I think. Okay, let's go back to Jenny for a moment because I'm hogging the mic. Jenny, let's go to the next slide. Please say anything you like about this. And then I think a slide coming up. Yeah, here, Leslie can take you a little deeper to answer those questions. And then on this slide, she will as well. Okay, so Jenny, anything else you want to share?
No, I think I got it all. But I guess, the main point here is that, we understand that what the journey is all about. We can answer any questions, and we're here for you.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your your support here. Awesome. Yeah, Jenny's wonderful. Students could always email me and if they need help, but Jenny's just right there for you every step of the way. So thanks, Jenny. All right, I think Leslie, you're going to take us into a little bit deeper dive here.
Yeah, I can handle the deeper dive. The student and graduate experience, like Matthew and Jenny both touched on, 60 to 70% is online videos. You've got your recorded videos that you can watch at your own pace. So, we are focused on career professionals who have a busy schedule. You can fit those in whenever you can get them in. The trick is you need to fit all of those videos in the 7 to 8 week time frame of each course section. 40% of that is going to be in person or live stream experience. So you'll have your live classes about every week. So you have 5 live classes for each section, that being fundamentals would be your first section. It has 5 live classes that occur on Tuesday nights. The first class is a little longer, it's 3 hours long. Other than that, it runs from 1 to 2 hours, depending on how many questions there are and what content is covered. And during that, you're meeting with Matthew. Matthew is running the live stream classes via Zoom. You're logging in and able to not only find out more information from him, but interact with Matthew directly, interact with other students, ask questions that you may have. And so that way you really kind of get to know the people that you're learning with. And then after you graduate through the entire program, you again have lifetime access to all of the recordings, the recorded live classes, and you can come back and experience new live classes, because as there are updates in the field, or as we learn, students really like to learn this aspect of the training in a different way, we'll update the live classes. And depending on who's in the live class, kind of depends on the vantage point that we look at the material. So as the live classes go on, you can come back as a graduate and rejoin the new cohorts. And you can also, as long as there's space available, check in with student services to come to those practicums, which is going to be either online for an entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or those will be the ones that we also offer in person. For February, it's in Tampa, and coming up in May and September will be Tampa and Orlando, depending on enrollment. We have our minimum numbers we've got to hit for each of those. So we do have mentoring and business development, like Matthew's talked about as well, not only within the training and the 20 hours of marketing and business practice, but the business practices support group, which is the phone call that's run monthly by our in-house marketing consultant, Corey Benchup. And if you go to our website, you can register for that. We also have, during the training, links out to register for that business training if that's something that interests you. And then, so you can see a visual representation of the different programs. You can see that the first 300 hours combined is what you would be taking to become a certified hypnotherapist. So the first 100 hours is fundamentals. That's going to be thinking about, how do you put somebody in hypnosis? What is hypnosis? What is hypnosis not? What are some myths and misconceptions, the history of it, some of the basics of, the fundamentals of hypnotism. As you move into advanced, you're learning different techniques that you can use on clients. And then as you roll into the 300-hour block, you're looking at some of the regression and even deeper dive into how do you resolve the issues that your clients have. Each one of those, you'll be putting in your passcodes for a video to show that you watched it, including live classes, and you'll have a little quiz at the end of each section, so you can have a mini check that you're getting the knowledge. And at the end of each section, you're taking a little multiple choice test, just to show that you are sort of prepared to attend the practicum weekend, which is about 10-hour days on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, those course dates are listed on the website, or if you're contacting admissions, he can definitely send you information to give you those dates. Then after that 300 block, you move into clinical, where that's where Matthew had talked about. We do training on how to deal with medical professionals. And in addition to that, we also include our breath work in that section. And that was really important to me as an overthinker, because breath work you can really use to sort of bypass that overthinking in some of your clients and use it to really get down into the heart of the issue. So it's a great thing for people who maybe even aren't interested necessarily in working in a clinical setting or with medical professionals, but it's something that you can use in any setting with any client. And then again, as you move into the transpersonal, at this point, you'll be thinking about taking your final exam to become a certified hypnotherapist, certified clinical hypnotherapist, and certified transpersonal hypnotherapist. And basically, that final regression exam is taking our regression protocol and doing it on another student. So as you're going through practicals, you're both the hypnotherapist and the client, and getting to watch what other students are doing as they're paired up. So you're really getting a 360-degree view of what it is to do hypnotherapy, but also have hypnotherapy. So you're going on your own healing journey in addition to learning all the skills that you'll need to help others heal as well. And again, I say heal with air quotes because we don't actually use the word heal in Florida or in some of the other states, but they will transform their issues because semantics are a thing. Then once you take your final exam, you are more than welcome to continue to interact with us, have questions answered, and we look forward to helping you on your way to becoming a successful hypnotherapist.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leslie. Appreciate that. So, I hope everybody sees and asks questions if you got them about the breakdown here. So basically, every 100 hours, there's 70% is going to be online, and then the 30%, 30 hours is in-house. So you got 100 hours. You'll meet 5 times with me each 100 hours on Tuesday nights. So it's like 70 hours of online training recorded and live, then the practicum hours. And basically you do that 3 times to become a hypnotherapist, then another 100-hour chunk clinical, another 100-hour chunk transpersonal. Okay, so it's a 70-30 split essentially. And the 60-40 is just because that's the online class, the live classes, as opposed to the videos. But I hope you get it. Ask questions if you got them. All right, so let me turn it over to Todd Grady, our admissions representative, and he can talk to you about these different steps, the financing, and how to get started. You get a sense of how friendly he is to give a call to, and then I'll be here for any Q&A or just last thoughts. Todd.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. It's a pleasure to be here with you all, and I'm glad that you are with us. Let me just start by saying you're entering one of the best professions in the world to me. You guys know I'm excited. I talk a lot about it. I love what I do, and I love the staff. So without continuing about what I love, let's talk about you all. So when you notice that there's no prior education or degrees required for our training. And I think that's very important because it does allow you to come in with that open mindset. And as Matthew mentioned before, the open heart of transparency to see how we operate and allow us to work with you generally. Um, the overview of enrollment is you and I on the phone. We'll discuss some of the information that you saw tonight in the slides. We will discuss what benefits it is for you and what you're looking to do in the future. And I think that's extremely important when you come into this field. It's a very unique community, a very, very positive society of people, and I think you'll all do very well. Our training cost is $19.50 per training hour. So again, that's $19.50 per training hour. What we do offer is a reserve a seat, as you can all read here. It does require that $300 deposit, and that gets you access to your first 20 hours of training. Remember, as you're coming through, that each 100 hours of training for us and for you, it comes to $1,950 per 100 hours. You want to make sure you have this in before the 1st of February, which will give you access to the 70 hours of training and recording. We do offer a limited amount of financing for our students, and I think that's a great opportunity for you to continue going through the entire program. And that's something that we discuss on the phone, via email, as well as in person on a live Zoom call. The minimum there is 600 for your credit score. And in saying that, also, it does require to submit a screenshot only of your credit score number and your identification along with that information so we can process and see if we can get you into the financing segments. Always your first payments are taken over the phone. And then after that payment is done, you can go ahead and make payments online. The next steps with me is very simple. Is let's get on the phone. Let's talk a little bit about who you are, what you're looking to do. You can give me a call. You can send me a text message. You can email me. I even take carrier pigeon. I love what I do. I mean it with sincerity. I am so excited for you all. You're running into the best group of people, the best profession I've ever encountered in my entire life. You can reach me at 800-551-9247. You can also email me, and I'll make sure I put that into the lines this evening. Other than that, that's really what my role is, and I love doing it. So I'm looking forward to having all of you get on the line with me. I'm going to play piano when we're done. Thank you, Matthew.
Because Todd's got his fancy new background with his new piano. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it. Everybody hear me okay? I'm not usually I see. Okay, great. All right, so great. Let's go to Q&A. So thank you, Todd. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Jenny. And if you go to our website and look at the staff and credentials page, you can see a lot of our other wonderful team. I don't think, Leslie, you better grab that link and put it in the chat pod for people. I don't think anybody can get it on the screen here. But you can
It's also in the description of all the socials. It's in the description, and I'll put it in the chat links as well.
Okay, thanks. Great. So yeah, if you want access to a free copy of all this audio material for my Peace Under All Circumstances book, it's the audio book. And I think there's like 5 meditations in there, including subliminal programming and overt suggestions to listen to for peace under all circumstances. So if you use that coupon code, you can get that. It's usually about $35 at no charge. Okay, thanks, Leslie. All right, so Angela said, do you accept Florida prepaid? I don't believe we do because we never have. We are state licensed, but I believe that's going to be for a college or university. Now, we have started the accreditation process. It doesn't really change your education with us, like that. The curriculum is really solid now. So I would say probably in a few years we might be at that point, but I don't think the answer is right now for that. Okay, yes. So Angela, the total cost for 500 hours is right around that number. It's gonna be like about under 10,000 for the whole thing. Let me just say, when you think about that, it might seem like a big chunk at first, but if you do the math, let's say that, and again, no guarantees, but if you do 100,000 per year in this profession, so first of all, in just 1 year, right? When I was in full-time practice before I opened the school, in January and February of most months, I would do about $15,000 in those months because that's when the New Year's resolutions are coming in. If you can make that money back in 1 month, and again, I'm not saying you will, but you can, the return on the investment is amazing. Think about if you run a private practice for 10 years at $100,000 per year. That's $1 million over 10 years. What kind of investment can you put down for about $10,000? And you got to work at it, of course. And obviously, some of that money is going to the government and all your expenses. But you can literally have such a huge return on that investment because see it as a career, right? So really think about ROI, the return on investment when you think of that. But yes, it's going to be approximately that. As Todd said, you can finance it. We work with TFC Tuition Financing as a state licensed school. Monthly payments are about $300 per month. So it doesn't break the bank, and you can usually pay it off in 3 years. Interest rate is actually a lot lower than what a lot of credit cards and whatnot are offering now. So yeah, you can talk to Todd about that if you give us a call. Okay, let me just be sure I got everything. Tanya said, are the processes we learn for hypnosis appropriate for children or just adults? We largely focus on adults. We have a section on hypnosis for children, but I have to admit, it's not my specialty. Again, I work with the model, not that children are not able, but I work with the model of help the able to become more able. I personally like to work with people who can go really deep and process deep-seated emotions and transform and clear their blockages to awaken them to healing and enlightenment. So for me, that's more adults. But yes, you can use a lot of our modalities for children. But the best thing is, in our school, you're going to learn how to deal with the inner child, right? How do you transform a part who feels sad and hurt and scared and angry and guilty and has low self-esteem? When you know how to do that for you and your clients, you'll know how to do that for your own children. I mean, like, it really can help you be a better parent. But then, yes, you can apply these ways of thinking to working with children. There's definitely a course in our school where I go into that. But yeah, some of the stuff in our school, like hypnosis for childbirthing or hypnosis for dentistry, as examples, you could absolutely get further training in. But there are dozens and dozens of techniques that we teach in the school you can apply to children, but you might want to get more specialized training in something like that if that's really your cup of tea. Okay, Andrea said, what's the deadline for signing the agreement and making a payment beyond deposit? So Todd had mentioned here February 1st, which is really right around the corner. If you're paying for the first 100 hours at that point, we can give you access actually the first 70 hours. I can get started going through all the videos sooner rather than later. But pretty much the deadline for enrolling is February 13th. So you can put down a deposit anytime before that, kind of get a feel for things. And then really just on the night of February 13th, when we start class at 6 o'clock, you would just want to have the first 100 hours paid for or be signed up for the financing option. We might have somewhat of an extended enrollment, but I don't want to encourage that. As you know, punctual and on time is good. I'm very much that way. So yeah, pretty much by February 13th, you want to have the enrollment agreement, student attestation. It's just a form you sign to say you understand that you're going to be self-employed. You don't get a job necessarily when you graduate. Oh, somebody asked before. No, I think I answered it. Yeah, okay, never mind. I answered that question. All right, great. So yeah, basically, the deadline would be like February 13th to be all signed up. Okay, Tanya said, for the practicums, if I'm starting those in Tampa and if Orlando is available in May, could I switch to Orlando then, or would that be a different class starting? It's a different class starting, so you'll be so far ahead of that class, it would put you back about 3 or 4 months. Yeah, probably almost 4 months if you transfer to that class. So it's probably best if you start with a certain cohort in a certain location, you stay there. But we have what I used to call, when we were Florida Institute, I called it FIH, flexible options. Now it's IIH, flexible options. But there's so many ways to help to adapt to anybody's situation, right? If money gets tight, reach out. We have ways to help out, different ways. Scheduling gets tight, we have all these flexible ways. So yeah, pretty much you wouldn't necessarily want to start with the Tampa group, then go to the Orlando group, because again, you'll be 4+ months behind. But yeah, we can be very flexible if we need to help to get you through. Okay. Can you get us the coupon code again for the book? Yeah, sure. Pleasure. Where did it go? Here. PUAC, Peace Under All Circumstances, Open House. Just type that into at that link, and you can get that whole package for free. And it's just like an instant download. That's all audio. All right, great. That pretty much brings us to the end. Again, this is from our admissions department. So Todd's finishing up here. You can see our license number for Department of Education. And Department of Vocational Rehabilitation is another financing option. They'll pay for the training if you're working to get back into the job force. You just have to reach to them to see if you qualify, if you think you might be in that category. But yeah, there's our website, and there's our 800 number. And I'm still fully here, and our staff is too, or some of our staff, if you have any other questions. So yeah, this class starts February 13th. We definitely still have a few seats available for online and in Tampa. And there are tons of free resources again. So if you go to our website, instituteofhypnotherapy.com, look at the free resources tab, meditation resources, podcast, blog, and tons of stuff to keep you busy, even if you're not officially in the school. Some people have hung out with us for like 10 years before they're all ready to jump in. So plenty of ways to stay connected. All right, we're going to wrap it up unless there's any other questions or sharing. Okay, so yeah, I hope to see everybody February 13th. If you ever want to talk to me personally about your situation or, get to know me and what the training's about better, just talk to Todd, say, yeah, I'd like to schedule some time with Matthew, I'll be happy to. So fully here for you. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Angela. So thank you so much. Very informative. I hope to be a new student in the near future. Hope to see you with us as well. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Tanya, who I know is starting soon enough. So awesome. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best. And yeah, we're here if you have any other questions. Good night, all.